Hi, my name is Mo Brooks, and today we're going to be talking about 6 habits to maximize your productivity. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Mo Brooks YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. As you already know, we are into no fluff. We're going to jump in right into the 6 habits to maximize your productivity. All right. Now, this is huge because all of us, we want to be productive, right? And we have this thing called procrastination that plagues most of our society. Procrastination, like, really it has impacted all of us in one shape, form, or fashion. So these 6 habits is going to get rid of procrastination. It's going to help you be super productive. And I'm telling you, you will be able to accomplish things in short amount of times. Like, especially if you I call this habits because if you practice these habits consistently, watch your productivity go through your roof, and your family is going to be better. Your friendships and relationships are going to be better, right? Your entire life is going to be better because you are producing. All right. And that is a huge thing. So let's get into it. First habit number 1 to maximize your productivity. You got to plan. All right. You have to plan. Now, planning is huge. And you're like, okay, what should I plan? Try to plan everything. I'm not a planner. Okay. I'm sure enough not a planner. But if I want to be productive, it's so important to plan. Okay. So when we plan, we're proactive. Okay, we're proactive. You taking notes, you might want to write this down. Okay, when you're planning, you're proactive. That means you're anticipating what is going to happen and you're planning for that. All right. So we want to be proactive in our productivity. We don't want to be caught by surprise. We want to be proactive about our calendars. We want to be proactive about everything about our day, our week, our month, as much as we can. Yes, things will happen. Okay. Things will happen. Things will come unexpectedly, but we have to be proactive. And the way are proactive is through planning. Okay. Now, planning is also going to protect you. It serves as a protection. This is huge. Okay. Because when we plan, we actually set boundaries and parameters around our time. Right? That's time with our families. That's time with our assignments that we have to do. That's time with our rest and our self-help. That's time with our walk with God and our spiritual walk with God, right? When we plan, now we're being protective of the things that matter most. All right, that's huge. Okay, so it's so important for us to plan because we're proactive, we're protective, and we're also peculiar. Planning helps you stand out. Have you ever seen somebody who was so planned, who was so tight with their schedule, right? Who was so tight with their schedule and they had margin and room to flow. And it seemed like they're never in a rush. And it seemed like they're always calm. It seemed like they always have time to help and finish their assignment or do whatever they need to do. They have time with their family. They're thriving in whatever career path they chose. Like, they just got time, right? Because they plan. That person stands out. And if you want to stand out, if you want to be peculiar, plan. And watch how different you stand out from those who don't plan. Watch the different results you get because those who don't plan don't get certain results. They just shoot from the hip. All right. They playing a lottery. We don't know if you're going to hit or not. Okay. But when you plan, I know because I plan this, because I plan my retirement, because I plan my investments. I know, right? I'm going to get something out of this because I planned it. All right. So plan. All right. So get your calendars out, use your calendars. All right. But we're going to get into all that. Here we go. Habit number 2 is communicate. You're like, what in the world does communication have to do with maximizing your productivity. Communication is huge when you're talking about being productive. We need to communicate with our family members, and those who have the most access to us need to know what we're working on, the time it will take to commit to that, and we need to communicate with them. That's huge because a lot of times we're being productive in our lives and we can be productive in our lives. But when we don't communicate to the right people our plans and our calendars and our schedules and get on the same page, right? That lack of communication and that breakdown of communication can cause strife in the relationships that matter most to you. Okay. It doesn't mean anything if we are productive or we maximize our productivity and our relationships deteriorate because of our productivity. That don't make any sense. Okay. At some point, those relationships that matter most, you still can be productive, but those relationships have to remain intact. Okay. I can't be so productive in my life that I lose my marriage. That's not productive at all. Not to me, at least. I can't be so productive that I don't spend any time with my daughter or my children. Like, that's not productive. So I have to communicate effectively, okay, to maximize my productivity. So now they know, okay, I'm making this video on YouTube. I'm being productive. Like, I've communicated that. So it's not like, hey, well, what are you doing? Or I'm going to serve, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to be writing, right? I'm communicating with them, or I'm going to stop working altogether and I'm just going to focus on you, right? I'm communicating those things so they don't have to be guessing. Those who have access to me, they don't have to be guessing, okay, when is dad or when is my husband going to spend time with me? When are we going to do this? I'm communicating to them, and that's maximizing my productivity. Another reason I need to communicate, and this is huge, because if I don't communicate, now those who have access to me, they're going to want that access to me when I'm trying to focus and get something done and produce something. And then I'm like, I'm in a pickle now because I didn't communicate. They want access to me when I'm trying to accomplish something over here. So that lack of communication now causes strife. Now I either have to, of course, tend to my family or tend to whoever needs something from me, or I have to neglect them. Like, forget that. I need to maximize my productivity. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? So we have to communicate, okay, in order to maximize our productivity to our family and those who have high access to you. Okay, that could be friends, coworkers, whoever has high access to you, you need to be communicating with, period. All right. Habit number 3. Here we go. Evaluate your happiness addiction. Yeah. Evaluate your happiness addiction. Now, if we're going to maximize our productivity, we have to look at our happiness addiction. Okay. What do you mean by that? I mean this thing called dopamine. Okay. Dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical released in our brains that makes us feel happy and pleasure when certain things happen. And it's so addictive. We get addicted to the feeling of it. For example, if my phone pinged right now, okay, what will happen is when I look at it, that text message had that red, I have an iPhone, that red little one that shows me that I have a message. And guess what? Dopamine is released in my brain when I open that message. When I get an email notification, dopamine is released in my brain. When I'm on social media, okay, on Facebook or on Instagram, and I have notifications and I see that and I click on it, dopamine is released in my brain. And what happens is my attention goes there. And then when I put down my phone, okay, and I go back to be productive, I can't, because now my brain is saying, I need another hit of that happiness juice. I need another hit. So instead of me doing what I'm supposed to do, I need another hit. So I got to look on my phone. Instead of focusing on what I'm supposed to be accomplishing at the moment, I find myself in a cycle of scrolling over and over and over again because my brain is addicted to the dopamine hit and I need a dopamine detox. It's a little cheap book on Amazon Kindle. You could get it for probably under $10. It's called Dopamine Detox. I need you to read that book. I need you to write that book down. I need you to read the first couple of chapters to do. It don't even matter. Read that book and learn about dopamine and how we can detox from dopamine and turn off our phones and turn off our notifications and take a break and look at the research and the impact it will have on your life. And I may come back and do some reading from that book on a different video, Dopamine Detox. Okay. So if you're going to maximize your productivity, you got to look at your happiness addiction. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be happy, but what I am saying is there's certain things in our life, right, that we're drawn to that takes us away from being productive. And we have to be aware of that if we're going to maximize our productivity. So we need a dopamine detox. All right. And that has to be a habit. So we have to learn how to put down the phone for some time. We have to learn how to not be so stimulated all the time so we can sit down and actually think and be creative and execute with excellence if we're going to maximize productivity. Y'all with me? Here we go. Number 4, habit number 4. We must focus on one task at a time. Now, number 3 and number 4 is very strategic, okay, because you can't focus on one thing at a time if you got the dopamine detox. If you got the dopamine going off, if you all addicted. Because the moment you focus on one thing, you think about another and you go. We have to actually practice to focus on one thing at one time. We live in a when you're distracted, multitask, okay, generation and culture where you're doing one thing, you're studying for your paper, and you're watching the TV show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You pay $4.99 on Peacock to watch. Like you're watching something and you're studying at the same time. You reading your Bible and you listening to a podcast at the same time. You talking to your wife and you scrolling through Instagram at the same time. If you're going to be productive in your work, in your relationships with God, with other people, if you're going to maximize your productivity, you got to be able to focus on one thing at a time. And guess what? Focusing is a muscle, not a physical muscle, but a mental muscle. Meaning you just can't wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to focus 2 hours straight on this project. It don't work like that. You too weak. You're going to be asleep. You have to build. That's why it's a habit. You have to build it over time. And a lot of us have to rebuild our focus muscle because we've been so distracted for so long. All right. Listen, my goal on this channel is to help you, okay? Like help you be productive, help you go after your dreams and your goals, help you to get up after you fail down. Okay, that's my goal, y'all. I'm here for you, okay? Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Habit number 5, you gotta abide. You gotta abide. You gotta abide. You gotta abide. Abide. You gotta abide. Okay, John 15:5 is one of my favorite verses, and you have to get this. If we're going to be productive, look at this. I feel like God has set us up, has wired us, has designed us to be productive. Okay, now I have a version of the Bible. It's becoming one of my favorite versions of the Bible. It's the TPT version, the Passion Translation. I just really enjoy reading this Bible, okay? And now this version, and this one, it actually doesn't say abide, in the New King James it says abide, and New Living Translation it says abide. But check this out. John 15:5. This is Jesus talking. Jesus said, I am the sprouting vine and you are my branches. Look at this. As you live in me, as you live in union with me, okay? As you abide in me, all right, as you stay in me, as your source, fruitfulness will stem from within you. But when you live separated from me, you are powerless. This is huge. Okay. If we're going to be productive, productivity takes power. Okay. And what God says is that when we abide in him, when we live in him, how do you live in him? By spending time with him in his word, by seeing, God, what do you want me to do? Who do you want me to be first? And based off who do you want me to be, that's what I'm going to do. Because as I be, I do. See, a lot of people try to do without being. Yeah. A lot of people try to do without being. First, we gotta know who we are first, right? And once we find out who we are first, now we can do what we're supposed to do. So God says, spend time with me in my word. Okay. Spend time sitting under somebody who can teach you the word. If you don't know the word, all right, that's what pastors supposed to do. All right. I'm not a pastor. All right. Pastor's supposed to teach you the word so you can know the word, so you can do the word. Okay. And now God is like, you're going to produce. You're going to produce. You're going to be planning. You're going to be communicating. You're going to be evaluating your happiness addiction. You're going to flat out produce. You're going to be able to focus on one thing. You're going to produce. My last habit, habit number 6. We got to forget mistakes in advance. We have to forget mistakes in advance. Now, most of these things are done right in advance. So we plan before we produce. We plan in advance. Okay. I love this. Before we're able to produce or maximize our productivity, it's important for us. We have to do some things first before we can maximize our productivity. Okay. It's like if I'm going to maximize my skills on the court, I first have to stretch. Because if I don't stretch, I'm not going to be able to give maximum effort. And when I try to give maximum effort without stretching, without doing the pre-work, without warming up, what happens? I pull a muscle every time. And a lot of times we're trying to maximize our productivity without stretching in advance, without warming up in advance. So these habits, this is what we do in advance. So now when we go produce, guess what? You won't pull a muscle. You won't give out. You won't be fatigued because you did the upfront work in advance. And that's how you maximize your productivity. So you have to forget your mistakes before you even get started. That means when you make a mistake, notice I said when, not if. When you make a mistake, I forget about the mistake. I learn from the mistake and I forget about it. I don't dwell on the mistake. I don't cry about the mistake I made. I don't throw a pity party about the mistake I made. I learn from it. Now, okay, now I know what to do. Now I know what not to do. And guess what? I'm going to get back up and I'm going to keep it moving. When we implement these 6 habits in our lives, you will maximize your productivity. All right. So come on, I would love to hear what you got to say in the comment section. I might not read it or respond right away. Why? Because I'm detoxing from dopamine. All right. So I'm not going every notification. I don't see none of that because I'm focused and I'm maximizing my productivity. But guess what? I'm going to get with you when I can. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. And I can't wait to release more content. All right, I'm going to get consistent doing this thing. So I'm excited. I'm like hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to max it. I'm going to apply everything I'm showing you. I'm teaching you. I'm sharing with you. I'm going to apply that myself. And we are about to get some maximum results. All right. Peace out. God bless you. And I shall talk to you later.